Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to our webinar today all about posting your salary journals using the Nominal link. My name's Duncan, I'll be hosting and presenting the session today, and I am joined by my colleague Sarah, who's standing by in the background ready and waiting to answer any questions. Let's now take a look at what we'll cover in the webinar. So we'll start with an introduction to the Nominal link, so explaining what the Nominal link is and a little bit of background on salary journals. I'm then going to run you through the steps to set up the Nominal link, and in today's webinar we'll be posting to Sage 50 accounts, although it is possible to post to Sage 200 if you use that account software. We'll take a look at the Nominal link wizard and how the salary journals are created. And then we'll finish with a quick look in accounts to see where those transactions end up and how they've been posted. Got a few common questions just to cover towards the end, and then we'll take a look through all of the further support that's available. So let's just start with a quick introduction to salary journals. So if you do work directly in accounts, you'll be familiar with this. But when it comes to recording salary information in account software, it isn't quite as easy as entering bank payments for the net wages and for things like tax and national insurance, as everything would need to be recorded using journal entries. So this would record the cost of your payroll to the business, so the cost of your gross wages and any employer contributions to national insurance and pension, as well as any liabilities. So these are payments that you then need to pay out to your employees when it comes to net pay, HMRC when it comes to tax and national insurance, and for other third parties such as pension providers. Now, to give you a very simple example with some round numbers, we've put a simple journal on the slide. So to record the cost to the business, which would appear on a profit and loss report, we've got a total here of £20,000, which would be our employee's gross salary. So that would consist of the net pay that the employee receives, the tax that we've deducted from their gross pay, the national insurance and pension contributions deducted from the employee. So that all comes out of that total gross pay amount. Then on top of that, the employer needs to pay their national insurance contribution. We've got a £3,000 here, and pension contributions for those who are in the pension scheme. So all in, this has given us a cost in this simple example of £24,000. At the other side of the journal is where that money ends up. So you've got the amount owed to HMRC, so £9,000, the tax and NI deducted from the employee, plus the employer's contribution. We've got our net wages owed to the employees, so that would be your biggest cost. And then any amounts to other third parties such as pension providers, or if you've deducted things like attachment of earnings orders. So that journal would always balance, but when it comes to recording these costs in accounts, if you're not using tools like the Nominal link, you're likely doing it manually. And if you're looking for more kind of analysis of your payroll costs, you may well be splitting some of this information by pay element or by groups of employee. And all of this can be automated really by using the Nominal link feature. So what's the Nominal link? Well, it is a quick and easy way to enter salary journals into your accounts. So based on nominal settings that you enter into your payroll software, and the payments that you've processed and updated in Payroll, the Nominal link will then calculate the journal entries that would need to be posted. You'll be able to print those details as a report as part of the Nominal link wizard. And when you complete the wizard, if you've linked to Sage 50 accounts or to Sage 200, when you click on to finish in that wizard, it would automatically enter those transactions into your account software, and you would simply enter some login details in order to make those postings. Now, to get this set up, there's some information that you'll need. So if you are linking to Sage 50 accounts, you'll need a username and password for the account software. And it's important to understand that that username would need to be logged out at the point you're entering nominal settings or posting the Nominal link. So you might consider creating a separate username and account specifically for using the nominal link. You'll need to know the location of your company file for Sage 50 accounts. So this is the file that contains the data path of your account's data. So the nominal link knows where to post the transactions. And of course, you'll need to know the nominal codes for each of the various categories in your salary journals, and they would be entered in your nominal settings. So I know there are some people that are using Sage 50 accounts, so we'll have a quick look at where you can find some of that information before we look at the setup in Payroll. So I'm just going to bring my accounts software up on screen. So I'm currently logged in as the manager username into Sage 50 accounts, but I have set up an additional user that I'm going to use when I'm dealing with the nominal link. So I've created a username for myself. So I can be logged in as manager into the software, and I can post the nominal link with my other username. If I wanted to use that manager user to post the nominal link, I would need to make sure that accounts was closed at the point that I do that. The other thing I need to know is where my company file is located, and this will depend on the version of Sage 50 accounts you're using. So easiest way to find it is if you click onto Help and then About. In Sage 50 accounts, that's going to open up the support homepage. And then here on the left-hand side, you'll note your settings directory. So the default path that most of you will be using is C, program data /sage/accounts. And then within that folder, if I just click on it here, you'll find subfolders that either show a year, such as 2026, as we're seeing here, or if you're on the latest version of accounts, it'll have a version number. So in my case, I'm using version 33. I've been upgrading the software over the years. Version 33 is where I would find my company file. So this is essentially a text document that contains the path to my accounts data. So I know where this is. I've checked that I can log into accounts, and I've got my own separate login for that. So we're just going to minimize the account software, and then we can start looking at setting up the nominal link. So let's just give you a quick overview of the steps involved in setting up the nominal link. So you will need to enter nominal settings into Sage 50 Payroll. So first of all, you would need to configure what account software you're posting to, whether that's Sage 50 accounts or Sage 200. Or if you're not using Sage accounting software, you can select the option to post to file, which means you can still use the nominal link, but instead of entering transactions into your accounts automatically, you'd be able to run a report showing you the journal entries that you need to enter. And you may be able to import that information into your software. Second step, if you are using Sage 50 accounts, is to browse to your company file and select which of your accounts companies you want to post to. So that default path I've put on the slide here for you, C program data /sage/accounts, and then either the year that relates to your version or V33 if you're on the latest version. We would then go ahead and enter the nominal codes for the various profit and loss and balance sheet categories. And then a fourth step, if you need kind of greater analysis of your payroll costs, is to set up any required overrides. So we will touch on that as part of the demo. Now, I have linked to our support article for setting this up with Sage 50 accounts. If you search our help center for nominal link Sage 200, you'll see similar steps for that as well. So let me give you a demo of setting this all up. Just going to bring the slides down once again. I'm now logged into my payroll software. And to get to my nominal settings, I'm going to start from the company tasks here in the bottom left corner. And then we're going to go ahead and click nominal settings. Now, when you set this up for the first time, you may see this message, data is locked by another user. Simply click OK to dismiss that message. That will then take you into your nominal link settings. And then you've got your 3 tabs where we're going to enter some defaults. You've then got a tab for entering profit and loss nominal codes and a tab for the balance sheet categories. So coming back to the defaults tab, the first thing I'm going to do is to select my posting destination. So if I open this drop-down list, we've got Sage 50 accounts and instant accounts, which is the same thing really. Instant accounts is now known as Sage 50 accounts essentials. Got Sage 200, if you post to Sage 200. TAS books, so support has ended for TAS books. There's file, if you want to use the nominal link to simply create a report. And if you were using Sage Business Cloud Accounting, there is an option to create an import file for that as well. But I'm going to choose Sage 50 accounts from this drop down. And with 50 accounts, I also need to browse to my company file. So if I click onto browse, I'm going to go into my C drive, then into the program data folder. Now this is a hidden folder, so you may need to enable or view hidden files and folders in order to see this. And then from program data, it was Sage, then accounts, and then these are old folders relating to older versions I used to use. If I scroll to the bottom, I have a folder for V33. And then under all of these folders, I have my company file. So this is what I need to select in the list just here. I would click onto open. And then at this point, I'm prompted to log in because this is now connecting to my accounts. So I'm going to enter my other username, which is just Duncan. And you'll see that it has then selected the first company in my accounts list. If that's not the company you want to post to, you can open this drop down and you can select a different company. But in this example, it's Sage Webinar Demo that I am going to post to. Now the option just underneath will help you to enter the nominal code. So if you are using a standard layout of accounts, you can choose default nominal codes that matches most of our templates. But of course, you could just enter your own custom nominal codes if you didn't want to use the defaults to start with. So I'm going to click onto this. It would overwrite any codes already entered, but I'm setting this up for the first time, so I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And then we have at the bottom some override options, which I'm going to come back to later. But if you've organized your payroll employees into departments or cost centers, it is then possible to enter separate nominal settings, so separate sets of nominal codes and department references for each department or cost center. So we're going to override by department, and we'll show you how that works a little bit later on. Last thing just to point out on this tab is the clear posting history option. So this should be used with caution, but one use case might be that if you used to use the nominal link several years ago but stopped using it for some reason, you might want to clear that posting history so that you can start using it again from a pay date of your choice. Because if you haven't cleared the posting history, you would need to post the nominal link for any historical periods until you're able to post for the current period. So that's quite a useful option if you do need to sort of start from scratch, but it would mean that any historical nominal link postings would no longer be recorded in Payroll. So you wouldn't be able to run historical nominal link reports after running this option. So we are set up to post to this accounts company. The next thing I need to do is to enter some nominal codes. So I'll start with the P&L analysis. These are profit and loss categories. So these are all defined for you, and most of these ones towards the bottom all relate to statutory payments. And ideally, you should be completing an accounts nominal code for every category listed here, unless you're sure that that category is something that you would never use. So you'll see on the balance sheet, there's a category for holiday fund. And I know that I haven't enabled holiday fund in payroll. I would never use it. So that's one that I might choose to leave blank. But you can either type a nominal code directly into this box, like so, or you can click on the drop-down arrow, and that would then enable you to select a nominal code from the list in your accounts, and then click OK. So the defaults have been entered for me. These can be changed if I need to. So for example, my gross payments will be posted to nominal code 7000. And then for these categories that are missing, they're all relating to statutory payments. So I want to post anything relating to statutory parental payments to one specific nominal code. So this is going to post both the cost, but then it will reduce that cost by the amounts you've recovered. And then at the bottom here, we've also got a code where we can analyze the cost of statutory sick pay. So I now have all of my accounts nominal codes entered for the profit and loss categories. Now, accounts cost center isn't relevant to Sage 50 accounts, can be used if you're posting to Sage 200. So you can either enter the accounts cost center you want to use, or there is a setting on the defaults tab that would allow you to fill incomplete categories. And then there's also a column where you can post to a specific accounts department. But if you are using departments in your accounts, it's likely that you might want to post to different departments for different employees. And this is where you might use a departmental override instead. So to keep things relatively simple, I'm going to leave both of these columns blank. Let's take a look at the balance sheet analysis. So these were the liabilities. This is where it's going to post journal entries to represent amounts that you're paying out to your staff and to other third parties. So the first one here is for attachment of earnings, and it doesn't have a default category. So I could open this list and see if there's a nominal code that I would want to post it to. But the other option that you have is to create nominal codes in accounts. So I've actually got a code in mind. I want to use 2240 for attachments. Because it doesn't already exist, I can click onto new. I can enter the nominal code here and description. And when I click OK, that actually creates the nominal code in Sage 50 accounts. So it saves you having to sort of go into the accounts software separately. For holiday fund, I'm not using that in payroll and I have no plans to use it. So I am going to leave that category blank. We've got some default codes entered for everything else. So currently we have national insurance and PAYE split to separate nominal codes, 2211 and 2210. Got our net wages and pension contributions. And I'm also going to fill in these two gaps at the bottom. So for my postgraduate loans and student loans, I'm just going to post them to the same place as PAYE, because that's where it ends up on my P32 report. The other thing on the BS analysis tab, if you're posting to Sage 50, is the bank payment nominal code. So again, this is optional, but if you want the nominal link to record the payment of net wages to your employees in your accounts, you can choose the bank account that net wages are paid from. So it only posts bank payments for net wages. For other payments, such as HMRC payments, pension payments, you would need to do that manually in accounts. So that is the basic setup. So we haven't entered any overrides at this point, but to save any changes that you've made, you'd click OK. That will then save your nominal link settings. And if you need to view them again, go in and make any changes, just click onto the same option. And because we are now linked to our accounts, each time we go into the nominal settings, it will prompt us to log in with our accounts login details. And then we can kind of pick up where we left off. Now, if you want to view your payroll costs in more detail in accounts, it's likely that you might want to split out certain types of payment, or even split up different groups of employees so that their salary information is posted to a different set of nominal codes. And this is where the overrides option comes in. So you can see the overrides at the bottom of the screen here. So you can override by payment or deduction, by employer pension contributions, by which pension scheme it goes to. You can override the employer NI cost associated with specific payments. And we also have the departmental override option here on the right-hand side. So as we've grouped our employees into departments, it's possible for us to enter separate nominal codes and even department references for each payroll department. So I'm going to start by showing you a payments override. So currently all payments will be posted to this default nominal code, 7000. But if I click payments override, it's then going to allow me to select a specific payment from this list. And the one I'm going to choose is commission. And then I can enter a different nominal code to the default. So in this example, I'm actually going to post commissions to the sales commissions nominal account. Kind of makes sense to me. And you can do something similar for deductions. So if there's specific deduction types that you want to post to a different nominal code, you can do. Do it for pension contribution. So that's the employer pension contribution. And employer's NI costs can be linked back to the specific payment. So it'll look at the proportion of the employee's gross pay for that particular pay element, and then it will post a proportion of the employer's NI to that code. So I've just got the one payments override entered. You can create as many of them as you need. Now the other type of override is departmental or cost center. So I've got mine set up to override by department, but if I'd organized my employees in payroll into cost centers, I could switch this to cost center, and then you can set up cost center overrides. But I'm using departments. So if I click into departmental override, you can see there are 3 departments set up in payroll. And I now have the option, if I edit any of these departments, of entering a separate set of nominal codes for employees who are in that department. So the example I'm going to use is for directors. So I've got a director and I want to split their payroll costs from my other employees. So if I select my directors department and click edit, you can see I now have almost like a mini set of nominal settings. So the exact same categories that we were seeing before, but these will apply only to employees in payroll department 1. And this is how you might choose to set up your nominal link if you need to post to specific department references in your accounts. So for this one, it is just the employer's NI and the gross pay that I'm going to override. So first of all, employer's NI, I've got a separate code for directors. And then for payments, rather than posting to gross wages for directors, I'm going to post to directors' salaries. And if I wanted these transactions to also post to a specific accounts department, I could enter my accounts department reference in here. So if, for example, it was department 1 in accounts, I could enter that here. And these are the settings that will be used for anyone assigned to this particular payroll department. Now, if they have costs that fall into any other category, it'll fall back to the default settings. And to take it a step further, you could also set up the other overrides within the departmental override. So if I click OK, I've now got a departmental override entered as well. You can set up overrides for balance sheet categories if required. So different types of attachment could go to different nominal codes. I'm going to set one up for pensions because I actually have two pension providers. And I just want to split out contributions to my Aviva pension to a different nominal code to my Nest pension. And for this one, I'm just going to create a new category in accounts. And that will then split out the pensions for that particular provider. So when you're done, you'd click OK to save the settings. But top tip at this point, if you want an easy way to review these settings, I'd recommend that you print the Nominal Link settings report, as then you can look at it all in one place without having to go into the separate override options. Just make sure you're happy with your settings. So if I click OK to save this, I'm just going to show you what that Nominal Link settings report looks like. So this is the one that I've printed out. So you can see I've got all my default nominal codes entered. I've got a payments override and a departmental override on the profit and loss. I've got my balance sheet categories and the pension override, and I've got a bank payment nominal code. So make sure that you're happy. Make sure there's no categories that you use with a missing nominal code, because that could cause a misposting when you post the nominal link. So a fair bit to take in there. I've tried to cover a few different use cases, but essentially entering nominal settings starts by selecting the destination of your posting, so the Sage Accounts software, or you can choose the file option. If you're using 50 accounts, you browse to your company file, you select the specific company you want to post to. We then entered our nominal codes for profit and loss and balance sheet categories, and then if required, you can set up any overrides. So now that it is set up, and that's really the part that takes the time and the thought, we are then ready to post the nominal link. So this is how the transactions actually end up in your accounts data. So to give you an overview of when and how you do this, I've put a simple 3-step guide together. So first of all, you must update records for any periods that you need to post. So this is a post-update task. So it's done after you've updated the records. You would run the nominal link wizard, which will then show you the journals that are about to be posted and give you the option of printing them or sending them to Excel if you want to check them first. Also an option to post bank payments for the net wages if you've enabled that. And then when you complete the wizard, at that point you're prompted to log in with your accounts login, and that is when the transactions end up in accounts. So sounds pretty simple. Let's take a look at that in action now. Now this will be the first time I'm posting the nominal link for this particular payroll company. Usually you would do this kind of towards the end of your pay run. So you'll see the task for nominal link appears underneath update records in the payroll tasks. Or if you use the process map, you'll see that the nominal link again is straight after update records. So I'll start by selecting my employees. If you do have multiple pay frequencies, you will need to post the nominal link separately for each pay frequency. You would set the process date to the date that you want to post. So usually that would be the current pay date. But I'm going to catch up on some earlier periods that I haven't yet posted. So when I go into the nominal link option, You'll see it's taken me into the Nominal Link wizard, but then, as it's the first time I'm doing this, it's asking me what date I want to use as a starting point. So my historical data goes all the way back to 2023, but I actually want to start posting from the 31st of October 2025. So that will be my starting point, and I will then be able to post the Nominal Link for all periods from that date onwards. So when I click onto Next, it'll preview the names of the employees included in the Nominal Link. So it's all the 5 that I've selected. And then on the next step, you have some posting options. So you can enter a simple transaction reference up to 8 characters. So I'm going to put salary October 25. The transaction date will default to the process date, but it can be changed if required. And then there's a setting where you can either group transactions so that it posts a total for each category in the journal, or you can deselect this box to post ungrouped, and that will then post individual journals for each employee. So I'm going to leave it set to grouped, but I will show you the difference on the report between grouped and ungrouped. I'm going to click onto Next, and you can see there we get a preview of the transactions that will be posted. So it's starting with some of the liabilities here. We've got our net wages for October, got the national insurance and PAYE, got some of the pension contributions. So this one was actually an overridden pension contribution. And then we've got some of the costs, employer's pension. We've got payments and employer NI, but these are actually in relation to the director. It's using the overridden nominal codes. Everyone else is getting posted to default payments nominal code, and it also handles any statutory payments, accounting for the amounts you've recovered as well. So you can look through this, or even better, you can print a report which will show you the journals that are about to be posted. So it might be useful when you're starting to use this for the first time. Now, if you do want to post bank payments as well, you'd click onto Next. So I'm going to click onto Next, and I've got my transaction reference for the net wages and the transaction date. So that's how it's accounting for this. And then when I'm ready to post, I would simply click Finish. And at this point, I'm prompted to log in. So I'm going to enter my accounts login details. And those transactions are then posted into accounts. So when it's finished, you'll then be able to post any periods after that starting point. So like I say, I had a few months to catch up on. And if I go back in to the Nominal Link option, it tells me that there are incomplete postings for my November pay run. And then I can repeat these steps to post any of these historical periods until my Nominal Link postings are up to date. Now, as promised, I'm going to show you the group and ungrouped reports. So starting with a grouped report, this is where there is one line per nominal category. So it's showing you the totals that are being posted to each of these categories. If I unticked the grouped box, it would post a much bigger journal, and the report actually breaks it down by employee, but it will post separate journals, in this case for each of my 5 employees. So this is a very small payroll. If you had a much larger payroll, posting it ungrouped would result in obviously quite a lot of transactions being posted. But yeah, grouped and ungrouped, depending on what your requirements are. Now, just want to finish up the demo by giving you some insight as to what that looks like in accounts. So again, I'm using Sage 50 accounts. And if I just head to my transactions module and refresh the page, You can see these are the salary journals. So I've got nothing else entered in this accounts company. It's literally just the salary journal that is showing here. So it's got the date of the transaction, it's got the reference that I entered, you've got journal credits and debits. If we check out the nominal codes, and I'm just going to filter by codes with a balance. You can see those nominal codes that were entered in the nominal settings are now showing balances either representing a cost to the business or a liability. Now notice that there's no balance on my net wages nominal code. The reason for that is that I posted the bank payment as well. So within net wages, if I look at the activity, you can see the liability was posted, but then that was cleared off on account of the bank payment being made to my employees. So that one can be done automatically, but for payments of things like PAYE, national insurance, pensions, attachments, you would do a normal bank payment in your accounts once those payments have been made, and that would of course clear off these balances. So that's how it all works. And when you would post a nominal link, and we're just going to finish off by zipping through some common questions that we've had based on similar sessions that we've ran in the past. So I'll run through these questions and answers, and of course we'll stick around after this in case you have further questions to ask us in the Q&A. So first one, does the nominal link work with Sage 200? I know some of you here are using that. Yes, it does. The process is very similar, though the setup differs slightly. I've linked to the article on setting up Sage 200 nominal link on the slide just there. The next one, can the nominal link automatically post employment allowance or apprenticeship levy? The answer to that one is no. These items do require a manual journal in your accounts because they are calculated monthly, whereas you might be posting the nominal link weekly if you pay weekly. So I have linked to an article which gives some guidance on how you would post a manual journal to account for apprenticeship levy or employment allowance. Next one's in relation to corrections. So if you roll back an employee in payroll, would the nominal link then repost the difference for the corrected values? The answer to that one is no, that's not how it works. If you roll back an employee who was previously included in the nominal link, you will be prompted to post their salary information again, but it will post the full corrected values. So you've got two options when it comes to these corrections. You can either post it again and then reverse the original journal relating to that employee, or you can choose to post to file so that those corrected transactions don't go into accounts, and you can do a manual correction in your accounts. So again, I've linked to a guide with more information on that. Some questions now on overrides. So could a single employee be split across multiple departments in the nominal link? Yes and no, I guess is the answer to this one. They can only be in one departmental or cost center override, because you can only ever assign one department or one cost center to an employee. So if you did need to post some of your employees' costs to one area and some to another area, you could consider using separate payments for those different types of cost in your payroll, and then doing payment overrides. Or again, it would need to be done manually in accounts after posting the nominal link. So they can only be in one departmental override. Payment overrides perhaps would be a workaround. Again, with departmental overrides, do the departments in payroll have to match the references and accounts? I know they can be different because you're essentially mapping the accounts department to the payroll department when you set up a departmental override. So you can type in the appropriate accounts department that relates to that payroll department. And a question there that we've had on company cars. So if you're payrolling a company car, why doesn't this appear in the nominal link? So a payroll benefit is a notional payment, so there's no real payroll cost to that. It's just so that the PAYE liability can be paid by the employee. So the benefit in kind payment isn't shown in the nominal link, but the impact of that, the increased tax liability, is reflected in the PAYE posting. So just some answers to the questions that we've had in the past, and hopefully they have been useful. So we are pretty much out of time, but we will stick around another 5 minutes or so just to continue answering questions in the Q&A if you have any. Just to let you know, we do have regular webinars for Sage 50 Payroll, and here are some of the topics coming up. So I've got some statutory payments, maternity, sick pay, and paternity pay towards the end of this month and into February. Got introduction to payrolling benefits, Wednesday the 4th of February, so that can be a popular session. Shared parental pay and attachment of earnings, and then we will soon be releasing our payroll year-end webinar dates, so you'll be able to get signed up to those as well. So all the details are on our website, sage.co.uk/webinars. Get further help in our help centre, so click on any of the help icons in Sage 50 Payroll, or head to the website sage.co.uk/help. This is also where you'll find contact details for our support team. And I just want to give a mention to our community hub. It's an online forum for Sage users. Obviously open 24/7, being online. You can ask questions, you can share your expertise, you can answer questions, you can get news on the latest payroll updates and connect with other payroll professionals. So communityhub.sage.com, get yourselves involved. And then Sage University is another great learning resource. You find all the details at sageu.com. So as promised, we'll stick around another 5 minutes or so just to check on any final questions. If you'd like the handout, don't forget to download that before you leave us today. And when you do exit the webinar, we'll invite you to take a survey. So it'd be great to know what you thought of today's session, any feedback that you might have to improve this, or suggestions for other webinars that you might like to see. So we do read all of your comments, and it does help us to improve these webinars moving forward. So look out for that when you leave. But I'm going to go on to mute just for a few minutes just to check on the Q&A, and I will come back when we're ready to wrap this up. I'll see you in a few minutes. Hi again, everyone. That's just me back. We hadn't had any new questions in the last few minutes, so I think we are going to wrap it up there. So thanks so much for joining me at the webinar today. I hope you found it useful and it's inspired you to look into this feature in a bit more detail. If you wouldn't mind completing the survey as you leave, that would be marvellous. And do look out for your follow-up email, as that will contain a link to this recording, as well as the link to sign up for future sessions. But on behalf of myself and Sarah, thanks so much again for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on some other webinars in the near future. But it is goodbye for now.